What's going on, everybody? My name is Cory Vincent, and I am with Energy Esports and the Video Game Bang podcast here in Sacramento. And I have the great honor of being able to interview an indie developer, and his name is Brad Petry, and his game is called One Lonely Outpost. I got to spend some time yesterday playing through the game, and I'm super excited. And it's an honor to talk to you, Brad. How you been?
Hi, pretty good now that the crunch to get the Kickstarter launched is over. Um, Pulled a couple of 100-hour weeks there, but it's done now. It's out and it's going.
Tell us a little bit about the game.
So the game is a space farming sim where you start alone in on a barren alien planet. Most of these farming sims start you out in some kind of a town or existing community. We wanted to do something different, not only just the whole in space. We want to do something more than that. So we have the player start alone. There's nobody else there. There's not even any life on the planet. And you start growing crops, the Martian style. And as they grow and you start producing more, you produce enough food for other people to come to the colony. And you start to grow community, you make friends. They also will offer services, upgrades, all of that kind of stuff. About halfway through the game, you get a choice between synthetic and organic, or synthetic and naturalistic, we call it, which is gene splicing and robo cows and robo animals on the synthetic side. Robo cows produce synthetic meat. And then on the organic side, you have to really tend to your crop. It's for people who really want to nurture their crops and create the highest quality produce they can get. You also get live animals who require care and tending. So it's all about the personal side of it on the naturalistic side.
What inspired you to create this game?
So the inspiration actually originally came from my friend. I really wanted to build a game, but my friend, I've tried over and over to build games that were my idea. And the problem I keep running into is that if it's my idea, I treat it like my baby. I have to make it absolutely perfect. And as an indie team, you have to make tough decisions sometimes. You can't put every single thing you want in the game or it will never be done. So my friend came to me and said, hey, I've got this great idea. You said you wanted an idea. Here's an idea. Let's do this game that's like, I think he phrased it as Stardew Valley meets Dwarf Fortress in space, which is a hilarious idea, and totally not actually what he meant. What he meant was more like what I explained to you. And once I tease that out, I go, that's an amazing idea. I really want to do that. So I picked it up from there, and it's been basically my passion work ever since.
One thing that was pretty cool was that you have a fairly large team, and it looks like they're from all over the world. What do you think the pros and cons are of working with a team that spreads so far out from different cultures and different backgrounds?
So we have, just to go over real quick, we have members in US, Canada, England, Scotland, Germany, Israel, and Singapore. We've previously had members in a few other countries like Russia, New Zealand, and probably a couple more I'm forgetting. Having a team that's spread out around the world, the advantage is you get different perspectives. People have different situations in life and whatnot. And oftentimes, cost of living in other places is lower. So when it comes to the few of them who are contract workers, they can afford to take a little less money to produce work. That's been really important in getting the groundwork laid, because as an indie developer, we don't have the money to pay the wages of the United States or other top tier developed countries. So that's been some of the advantages. Some of the disadvantages, there is sometimes some language barrier. but you can work through it over the course of about a year or so. The lead artist is from Singapore, and his English isn't great, combined with some other things, and this led to some miscommunications at times in the project. But we've moved past that. Uh, by and large, I have a really good, firm understanding of him, and he has a good understanding of me. Despite the not perfect English, we can communicate pretty effectively now. So you can work past that. What's actually the most difficult thing usually is the time zones. Having literally the entire world over means that the time zones frequently conflict. So there's actually no possible way to hold a meeting during normal waking hours of all team members because somebody's asleep at every time.
Somebody's got to take one for the team at any given time. That's wild.
Yeah.
How has the pandemic affected development of this game? Did you get started before? I'm assuming it takes a while. So did this slow down the production, or were you guys kind of unaffected due to the remote nature of your guys' operation?
We got started before, and the pandemic didn't really do a whole lot to us. If anything, it was an advantage for us because some of us who've previously had day jobs where we commuted into work, we're now able to work from home. That means that on our breaks, we can just switch over to the project. We're working on the same computer we're using for the project, as well as we don't have commute times. Again, more time to put into the project. So, in certain respects, the pandemic has been fortunate for our work, as unfortunate as it is in general.
This is definitely one of those games that feels like you need two monitors. You need one with the game, and then you need a second one with like a dozen Wikipedia tabs open, like trying to figure out how to craft everything perfectly and get like figure out how to maximize all your resources. What kind of this seems like this game is going to require a lot of fun kind of content and stuff outside. What kind of resources are you planning to provide players so that they could get that kind of stuff, the early adopters, so they know how to play this game the right way?
So right now we're shipping it with some really short explanations of the controls and whatnot because we don't have a tutorial yet. The tutorial definitely comes after you've got a solid game once you're into the beta phase. Otherwise, you're just going to be redoing it every single time you change something. But in terms of resources like that, we're working on tooltips, little helper information. We want players to be able to get all of what they need inside the game. If they want to go outside, they can. We actually also have plans for both a normal and a hard mode. The normal mode will allow you to use all those wikis and whatnot that you want. Stardew, I would have my wiki up because I just didn't have the time to try all of the combinations with all of the people, figure out what they liked, or which crops were the best. So I just had a crop calculator over there, and I would calculate which ones would give a certain return on investment and all that. But our game is going to be designed a lot more flat, as in there's a little less which plant is best for all cases, and more so which plant is best for how you want to play. There's a little more distinctions there, so it's really going to come down to a lot more subjectivity. But getting back to the normal versus hard mode, the normal mode will all be fixed like that. It'll be fairly easy on the across the board. What we're doing for the hard mode is less. The numbers will be tighter. The profit margins will be tighter, sure. But the more challenging aspects of it is, for example, the genetic mutations from gene splicing will be randomized in the hard mode. They'll be fixed in the in the normal mode. So that players have reliability. They can just go look up the wiki if they want to, and play through it and enjoy it how they like. But if they want that extra challenge, they can get them randomized, which means that wiki is not actually going to help you a whole lot.
Out of curiosity, too, like I love asking this question because, you learn something through every big undertaking that you take. And, you're not out of the woods yet. Obviously, still a long ways to go. But if you could hit the refresh button and start from scratch, is there any minor tweaks you would make to your development process that you think would have saved you some headaches going forward if you were to do it all again? Same product. I'm not saying change the game, but just in your process that you feel like, oh man, I could have saved myself so many hours if we had done this or that.
Oh, definitely. There's plenty of things that I would do differently. I probably still would go to GDC, but I will say that you go for the experience, not for the results, because the results are not guaranteed.
Go into that. What results were you expecting, and what did you get?
I was hoping for a little bit more public traction, signups and interest and whatnot. We actually got quite a bit. We kept pretty consistently 2 of the 3 booth people there talking to people who were interested. But in the end, we walked away with about 150 people for our mailing list, which is not bad, but would have been great to have more.
Yeah.
And moreover, we put together a really cool looking booth. We had a fully playable demo, and we actually talked to at least 15, if not 20 publishers.
Oh, okay.
But essentially, what we got out of it was that all of the publishers who were somewhat interested were not interested in backing up the project until it was much further along. And I'm kind of sitting there going like, well, if it's further along, why don't I just take it to Kickstarter or finish it myself and publish it on early access or whatnot? What's the point of a publisher if they're not going to support the game at an early juncture as opposed to a very late one? So it was a little disappointing in that respect, but it was great to hear all of the feedback from the fans, which was universally positive, basically, except a couple of drunk guys from Firaxis who came by and were criticizing all these things about it. That we're like, yep, that's because it's an early build. Yep, that's also because it's a early build.
That's I feel every video game convention's got those guys. What's your plan to launch this? One Lonely Outpost?
We're intending. It's still kind of up in the air, but the current going plan is to launch early access on the Epic Games Store.
Okay.
First, and then try and get all of our diehard fans to buy it there if they will at all. We'll also be offering a direct purchase through our website. That as well as offering streamers a what do you call it?
Drops?
Partnership. Affiliate program. Where they would get a cut of the sales.
Wow.
I worked it out between this company that I'm working with to provide that. And the credit card fees and the cut that I'm giving to them, it's still going to be less than what I would pay on Steam by like 5 or 10%. Yeah, between all those cuts combined, it's still less than Steam. Steam charges 30%. And so you take out 3% for the credit card fee, 5% for the merchant portal, another 10% or 15% even for the streamer or affiliate, and you're still short of that 30%. It's an enormous chunk that they take out, but currently there's not really an option for indie developers to not publish on Steam. So it's likely that at some point we'll have to.
Okay, last question I got for you is just tell us when we can expect to get our hands on this game and where people could learn more.
All right, so we are running a Kickstarter now. If that Kickstarter passes, it will enter early access this time next year. If you back at a high enough tier, you will get access to the alpha builds immediately after the Kickstarter. People, if the game is not backed, then it's kind of an open-ended question. So We're really hoping that the project does meet its funding goal. We know that it's high, but we refuse to put out a funding goal that didn't mean we were 100% sure we could make this game. Our funding goal is high because that's what it costs. We've optimized all of our things. We've got plans to move to low cost of living areas and whatnot. We're pulling the extra mile to make sure it's low, but it's still 80K, and that's still a lot of money. And that's why we need as many backers as we can possibly get, and to get the word out. There's also rewards for people who back, and once a certain sharing goal is met. So number of Facebook shares, number of Twitter shares,
Okay.
all those things. We count those, and as they tick up past certain goals, all the backers get additional rewards.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Brad. And thank you to the Capital Creative Showcase for making these awesome connections and helping us all learn a little bit more about the indie development process. And best of luck on the Kickstarter. So if you guys want to learn more about it, Kickstarter, is there like a URL, a catchy URL you got for it?
bit.ly/OLO game will take you there. But I'll get you the proper links in wherever you post this.
All right.
Hopefully.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.